Good morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing. We wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The Silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. For those of you tuning in today, we welcome you in. I honestly have to ask about the efficacy of advertisements. Now, hear me out here. I was sitting here, actually, I was recording another show, to be honest with you, and my phone, as I was scrolling through it for data, popped up an advertisement for the new GM whatever. And you just heard my reaction to it, the whatever. I have no idea. Didn't even look at the picture. Was it an SUV? Was it a sports car? Was it some sort of, muscle power thing that, in 20 years will be considered a classic? Maybe. Don't know. Don't care. Yeah, the issue is advertisements are everywhere, and are people honestly influenced by it? Now, advertisers are of course going to come up with whatever statistical links and, you know, any way to justify selling their product, and advertising's a decent job. It's a lot of salesmanship, it's a lot of artistry, and I'm not trying to close their industry down. I'm not. But honestly, when's the last time you saw an advertisement for Pepsi and said, I should have a Pepsi instead of a Coke? I mean, when you walk to a restaurant, they tell you whether they have a Coke or a Pepsi. And you just, okay, maybe, maybe you're a ginger ale person. I'm finicky with my root beer only because Barks has caffeine in it. I do like it, but I'm one of the people, I've burnt out my nervous system. I used to be a caffeine addict, so I won't touch Barks because, yeah, I'll be barking up the wrong tree, that's for sure. Back to the subject of advertisements. They spend all this money on analysis, um, data mining, all these crazy things. And I would bet at least 30-40% of searches done are just looking up something random. Even at work, what's the travel time to Arkansas? And all of a sudden you'll see a whole bunch of advertisements to Arkansas. I was looking up the travel time because I want to know about how long the mail is going to take to get there. Advertisement, they really need to move into the 21st century. In the past, they've done some remarkable data analysis, and that's why they've come to depend on it so much. Have you ever heard of the beer and diapers correlation? This was work done back in the, I think, 70s or 80s. And it was when credit cards were first trying to figure out the spending patterns. And one of the first things they figured out was beer and diapers went together. And they couldn't figure out why for the longest time. And then they realized the wife was at home with the kid, remember, 70s. And she told the husband to go out and pick up diapers. And while he was out picking up diapers, he might as well pick up beer at the same time. But it took them about a year or two to figure out why that correlation existed. And that's the great, great, great granddaddy of all today's data mining, artificial intelligence, sorting statistics out for this, that, the other thing. But they go to all that effort, and like I said, let's go back to cars. What car do you like? Now there are, I'm going to call them gearheads in a respectful way, that have very specific cars that they like. And I've seen them defect from one brand to another, not because of the advertisement, but because they've done their own research and they know cars better than I do. They know what they're looking for better than I do. So I'm just happily going to sit back and continue to enjoy my non-caffeinated beverage. Actually, tell you the truth, I mostly drink water. I had a couple cups of tea today, but that was just because it was a lousy, rainy day. Didn't look at coffee at all. Probably should have, because I do have decaf. Today would have been a nice day to sit outside with that. But again, advertisements. There was one for Ramadan recently where they were looking for donations. And while I do not disrespect Ramadan, and I understand it's an important holiday, I mean, these things were on every second video I clicked on to watch. And I was thinking, how much money are you spending? One of these days, I got to sit down and figure out an actual YouTube advertising budget, because the only reason the Ramadan commercial annoyed me is because there are exactly two commercials, and like I said, they ran every two videos, and eventually get tired of the same thing over and over again. You know, jeez, this thing again. And that's the other thing people don't realize is saturation. Everybody has that commercial that they hate, and it's probably because they've seen it so many times. And in the modern day with targeted advertising, it's unacceptable that they should weight so heavily on going after the people that are on the extreme maybe side. They haven't quite figured that out in advertising. Your positive maybes who are thinking, ooh, I'd like to buy a cot. You know, those little portable beds, because I'm going to be going camping and I don't want to sleep on a rock. Yeah, I have some experience there, as you can tell. But and when you get that, all of a sudden it starts exploding. We have this cot, you know, come buy our cot. Now, where I take advertising to a positive thing, again, you know whether you want your Coke or your Pepsi, you know whether you want your Ford or your Chrysler. Where I think advertising is an excellent idea is people who don't know much about a product, or you're innovating a new product. It's very difficult to invent these days. Mostly it's innovation. Let's do that, but we'll do it this way instead. That's how a lot of movies are pitched. It's like Die Hard, but on a plane. It's like Star Wars, but it's on the ocean. You know, that's how executives do it, because they want people to have a picture in their head that they're summoning to get funding for their movie. And if I tell you what's a product I could invent, it's like rain boots, except they look like regular shoes. Oh, that might get a couple people's attention, especially those who are interested in fashion. It's like a top hat, but a Swiss Army knife. Okay, that one might not sell so well, but at least catch people's interest when you pull out your nail clippers from your top hat. Don't know, didn't expect to have to invent something for today's podcast when I came up with this idea. But it was my idea and I'm sticking with it. So for that, yeah, if you ask a small company, the first thing they do is market research, not only for their advertising, but to see if there's actually a market for their product. Google Glasses was a hell of a good idea, as you can see with the Apple people trying to bring it back. It was too early, the technology was too ambitious, and quite frankly, I don't think they really knew how to market them. Apple is now doing the exact opposite. They're going in and they're marketing these things. I'm a little bit of a tech guy, and I saw them. That's kind of cool. Except my friend, he recently bought a 3D headset. And he had to get special lenses, because as bad as my vision is, his is worse. So he can't even see the 3D lenses and has to get, $300 lenses to go in them. So how would that apply to Google Glass or whatever the eyeglasses are? Don't know off the top of my head, but Apple knows what they're doing. They already know who their users are, so they can advertise. They can say, hey, this is a feature nobody else has. Hey, kudos to you. I don't like your business practices, but I give you credit for at least going after the right people. And advertising is really subjective. Like, nobody can really tell you what's going to work and what's not going to work. That's just the luck of the draw. And sadly, there's some excellent services out there that just simply are never going to be more than a glimmer in somebody's mind. Because maybe the market's not there, or maybe they don't know how to work with the market. And agents are extremely picky in what they decide that they're going to take up for advertising and for product and distribution. And I'm speaking from somebody who's dealt with them on a publishing side. People need to be more picky with the advertisements. YouTube needs to stop thinking everything is an engagement with the advertisement. Skipping the advertisement tells YouTube that you're interested. This is true. It's been proven a few times. If you interact with it at all, that means that you must like it. So your only choice is to let that darn thing play and hope you never see it again. You can click on the ad and block it, which I've done with a particular video game company that I won't mention at the present time. But, like I said, advertisers have to figure out, if I'm constantly blocking your advertisements, chances are I'm not your target customer. And this is where YouTube needs to move ahead. Smaller companies already are doing stuff like this. It's time for the big guys to catch up. Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Ford, Chrysler, GM, you're the big dogs. We know you're there. I appreciate you pumping advertising dollars into the economy because, quite frankly, it needs it. But honestly, I already know what I'm buying for my next car, if I buy a next car. And that won't be any time, so like 5, maybe 10 years. So I know what's the next sewing machine I'm going to get for my wife and daughter, and they actually do sew. But it's not going to be one of these $100 jobbies. It's going to be a rather expensive one, because the one they have is an expensive one. And you try not to downgrade your service. But you see, I already got a plan for the expenditures that I need to make. And that plan is going to change or stay the way that it is unless something new comes out that I've discovered myself. Show me your new board games. Heck, I just spent $80 on the Doomlings Deluxe Edition, and I'm very pleased with my purchase, which I wouldn't have found out without advertisements. So yes, advertisements do have a place. They just need to figure out not only how to engage people. It's easy to engage people. The question is keeping their interest. And that's where we need to go. Hopefully, one of the big agencies figures that out before we all get sick of them. And we're never going to escape advertisements. One of the SCPs, I forget what it is, it repairs your vision, but in return, you have to watch advertisements for a certain amount of time. And I just thought that was such a fascinating idea because, half your vision would be taken up with advertisements, and or less or more depending on how much work they had to do. And then if you ordered something off that, you would see more advertisements. I wish I could remember which SCP it was, but I can kind of see that in the near future. Would you like us to not only perform heart surgery but give you an upgrade to a better heart? Yep. Well, you're going to get to watch advertisements for the next 2 years or whatever the heck it is. Sorry, it's just one of the SCP tales that I find funny. With that, we hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please like, share, because sharing is caring. Don't forget to click on the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed already. Click the notification icon down below so that way you can be notified every time we upload a new episode. And we hope you have a fantastic day.